Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Madel says, Lexis, come to London. Let's go for the float. I'm right there. I'm coming through. We are all Arsenal fans now. We've supported Arsenal in the background. You understand?
That tonight's gonna be a good night.
Yeah.
That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Feel it. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be.
This is Drive Time on Joy with Lexis Bill. I want to wish you a happy birthday, my brother, Ben Kevin Adigli, General Manager of St. Gobain, Ghana. Happy birthday to you. And also from your team at St. Gobain. They say thank you for your exceptional leadership, vision, and dedication to driving growth while keeping us focused on our mission of making the world a better home. Cheers to another year of setting benchmarks and reaching new heights. Happy birthday, Ben Kevin Adigli, General Manager of St. Gobain, Ghana. Dr. Yaw Osafo is here. Drive chat with the Drive Doctor.
Charlie, dream I'm nice. I get some serious meeting.
Allah, motion. But Charlie, no credit today.
Oh, but you relax. Momo day.
Hey, what funny.
Yes, so I borrow small, sort myself out, I pay back. We move.
Spot there. Ah, Charlie, you sure say you dey pay back?
Yes, so that anytime somebody else they need them, Momo day.
Be like I for can't borrow some more.
Hey, you this boy. Don't go there and disgrace yourself.
Allah, motion.
Responsible borrowing be the real flexo for today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. Borrow, sort them, pay back. Momo Day.
Imagine a place where every child's laughter becomes a song.
A place where we can learn from animals, play, and just be happy with mommy and daddy.
A place where hearts grow together. That place is Safari Eco Park. Here, amusement is the joy that unites us all.
Mommy, I can see the emu all the way up here on the canopy wall.
Careful, dear. There is more fun to be had.
This zebra is my new friend. Her name is Stripey, and the wildebeest is Sandy.
Hi, Stripey and Sandy.
With so much amusement like targets and obstacle games, ant caves, fantasy rides, and a vast range of wildlife.
What is this place?
This is an aviary, home to over 400 of the most vibrant birds in the world. The biggest aviary in West Africa.
Wow, the biggest?
Yes, and guess what? Open your palm.
Daddy, look, they're eating from my palm.
That's amazing.
I want to stay at Safari Eco Park. I don't want to go back to Ghana.
But honey, Safari Eco Park is in Ghana.
What?
How much did all of this cost, honey?
350 Ghana cedis for you and I, 250 for teenagers, 150 for kids, and absolutely free for children under 6.
We should have brought the kids here sooner.
I know.
Safari Eco Park is only 1 hour drive from Accra. It's unforgettable.
Drive Chat now proudly brought to you by MTN, Vitamilk, Aqua Safari Resort, and Malatu. You know how we do it when you cross over graduation, big win, new arrival, your people dust you with powder. That's exactly what's happening right now, thanks to MTN. People are upgrading to 4G, and trust me, the powder is slaying everywhere. Grab the brand new HMD Arc for just 899 CDs. And enjoy free 2.5 gigabyte data every single month for 6 months. New phone, fast 4G, nice pictures, free data, more social media every month. Yeah. Visit any MTN service center and dealer shops nationwide to grab your HMD Arc today. Our doctor is here, Dr. Osafo, CEO of Medicas Hospital, and today we get to talk about plastic surgery. He's here. Hi, Doc. How are you?
Kwame, I just took some special type of paracetamol.
What's it called?
Ghanacetamol.
For all the haters of the Gunners.
Yeah, you know.
Ashimuno.
Yeah, Kuma. So yesterday, somebody sent me Ghanacetamol.
Ghanacetamol.
I should take 2 6 times a day. So Kwame, that's how I am feeling.
If symptoms persist,
This
increase the dosage.
it still persists. For me too, Good afternoon, and a special good afternoon to a very special uncle of mine. Lives at 3rd Gate, Ashali Buchi. Kwame Apia. Wafa one.
He's an Arsenal fan, eh?
Allah. He's enjoying.
I can imagine.
And then we are suffering.
Your WhatsApp is blowing up, eh?
We do no cry. You know. So to all the Arsenal fans and my best friend in this world, Japheth Kojuboni. Yes, number 10 Bentley Close, Northampton. Strong Arsenal fan. He's in town at the moment.
Okay.
So yes, Nenia Japan, but you is okay. Next year, Chelsea and Man U do something. And I come and say,
next year is our year.
All right.
We had to pause and let our friends from Arsenal to also taste something.
Taste
22
something
years.
small. Ache. Right. So good afternoon to all our listeners, and it's good to be here. Another Wednesday. And Kwame, Monday, you and AK, stories around the world.
We had a conversation about some
yes,
people who are changing
the
shape of their
head and all of that. And then something dropped. I was like, why don't we talk about this thing in a different way? Or there seems to be a certain narrative. And I wanted to pose this question or frame today's conversation. And we're going to have this conversation over the next couple of weeks. Plastic surgery, all right? But I think the full name should be plastic and reconstructive surgery. There's a whole department in the major tertiary institutions, Kolebu Teaching Hospital and Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, dedicated to plastic and reconstructive surgery. So, real medicine or vanity? That is my question to our listeners, and I want them to send in their answers. But
you can WhatsApp us. Send us a WhatsApp on 055-1111-997. What are your thoughts? Plastic surgery, is it real medicine or it's vanity?
Yeah, because I think we swing towards the second option more. And today I want to just put out some information and then help everybody make up their mind afterwards. So Kwame, let's start. What is plastic surgery? So it's a medical specialty. All right? It's a medical specialty. So you need general medicine first, and then you can specialize in there. So it's a medical specialty dealing with corrections of defects, improvements in appearance, and restoration of lost function. So, Kwame, the operative phrases there: corrections of defects, improvements in appearance, and restoration of lost function.
I see.
So these are the key things that the discipline or the practice seeks to do. Now, the question would be, improvements in appearance, is it important or not? And is it just vain if I say I want to improve the way I look?
Right.
It is very easy to think that when we say improvements in appearance, then we think that things are quote unquote normal and somebody wants to just either change that. But it could also be that because of trauma, for example, having hot water burns, having acid burns, has actually changed the way you appear to people.
Okay.
And should we leave you that way, or can we change the way you appear to people? The name plastic surgery,
does it have to do with plastics?
in a way, yes. And I would explain. The etymology of the word is from Greek. And that Greek word is plastikos.
Okay.
Plastikos, which means to shape, create, or form. So when you ask the question about plastic, yes. Because what can you do with plastics?
To mold it.
You can mold
Yeah.
plastics into any shape, form that you want.
Okay.
All right. So that idea is where the name came from. So today, when we talk about plastic surgery, then it represents the art of surgical modeling.
But how come all these words are rooted in Greek mythology and Greek culture and all of those things?
And Latin,
what were they doing those days? these Greeks.
Yes,
they should tell us. I mean,
the great philosophers,
Yeah.
the early scientists, and
they had
medicine
time.
people.
They had time on their hands.
I'm sure we're doing stuff, but maybe lost because we couldn't. Right. So a lot of the early writings. I mean, Kwame, if you could write, then you could leave to the next generation things that you have done. But if you didn't have your own writing, so when did we, for example, start writing Tree, Ga, or something, our own language? So it made it very difficult. Everything had to be oral, and those things can get lost. So Kwame, let's look at the historical development of plastic surgery for people to know that it is not a modern thing.
Okay.
It is not something that is a Gen Z or something crazy.
Right.
All right. So ancient times. We can go as far back as 1500 BC. All right. That is when we had the first descriptions of something we call rhinoplasty. Rhinoceros, so nose, right?
Okay.
Rhinoplasty. Remodeling the nose.
Okay.
So there are writings in the medical papyrus that
Medical day.
the papyrus.
Papa, damn.
It's a piece of parchment paper on which things were written many, many years ago.
Just say
2000.
Papa na yedi bujimunana.
There be,
But it's the same thing. It's almost like something that.
I don't see it to be interesting.
Okay.
But it's like parchment paper and they can write on it.
Parchment, Papa. Their value is the same. Okay.
So this was found by Edward Smith, an archaeologist in Egypt many years ago. And that is when he realized that latest 1,500 years ago, there was documentations about nose remodeling or repair and reconstruction. However, the first descriptions of surgery involving the reconstruction of body parts date from 800 BC, 800 years before Christ.
I remember.
You remember, you were there with Winston Amwa. So, were written in Vedic medicine. And when we talk about Vedic medicine, we are talking about medical concepts and traditions relating to ancient India.
Okay.
Right. And I'll tell you something interesting about why rhinoplasty, nose surgery, started from that part of the world, ancient India. There was a certain punishment regime. All right. That involved cutting off the nose of the one who's found guilty, and sometimes along with the ears.
Oh.
Yep. As a form of punishment for various offenses. So it is not surprising that the documentation about these works, the reconstruction, particularly of the nose, was written by an Indian surgeon called Sushrata. All right? He's the one who was able to write out his procedures.
Okay.
And this is 800 BC.
Wow.
And we're talking about the nose. But he was doing it not because people went to him that I don't like the size or shape of my nose, but because at that time in ancient times, there was that tradition where the punishment was not being whipped, the punishment was not being hanged, the punishment was that your nose got cut off. these individuals also did some lip surgery. So this is ancient times. Now,
You mentioned Vedic medicine.
yes.
Does it have anything to do with Ayurveda?
So you nailed it. In contemporary times,
Yeah.
we associate Ayurvedic medicine,
Yeah.
which involve traditional healing concepts and methods from India.
Yeah.
Yes, to it. So there's an overlap in there. But the
Wow.
traditional one has certain principles, but now we've moved on using herbs and different things. So sometimes you see, and we even use it sometimes in the hospitals,
Okay.
that you may have some drugs and then they tell you that it's Ayurvedic
Ayurvedic medicine.
medicine.
And all that. I
So
mean,
you're
it makes a lot of
absolutely right.
sense why a lot of procedures are done in India.
Yes.
A lot of medical procedures. I mean,
I'm
you hear
telling
somebody doing a kidney transplant, and they have to go to India, and you have to go to India,
Yep.
and all of those. They are quite advanced, and
Very
they have
advanced.
a history
They have
rooted
a-
in medicine.
Exactly. 800 BC. 800 BC. Someone's doing rhinoplasty, nose repair surgery. And it's amazing the way adversity can lead to things.
Innovation.
So
and, yeah.
So if it wasn't for that punishment regime, probably there wouldn't have been the need to rehabilitate people and, as we say, improve their appearance.
Okay.
And because their nose has been cut off because of some form of punishment.
Yeah.
And from there, once you have history, then you can develop. So fast forward, there's something we call the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages. This represents the period where the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire collapsed. This is around 476 or something AD. And during that period too, certain things happened in Europe. There was a decline in scientific knowledge. There was a decline in literacy. There was a decline in institutional governance. And there was a rise of religion, Christianity in Europe. But unfortunately, there's a certain history about that time that people are very uncomfortable with. The rise of religion suppressed scientific development. Books were burned. You will be prosecuted if you made certain declarations. So very famous people like Galilei were all prosecuted for saying things like the earth is round and not flat because the Pope had said the world was flat at the time and he was the representative of God. So a lot of these documents about surgery was smuggled from Europe to the Middle East. So the Arabs and the Persians, Iranians, took over. And they are very important people. There was a guy called Al-Razi who lived around 925 AD, and then another guy called Avicenna. And these are the guys, they did something. They talked about how to treat injuries caused by fires. They were the first people to describe what you do to prevent the kind of bad scars that we would see. Then later on, there was another Turkish surgeon during the Renaissance period, 14th century, 15th century, thereabout. And he has a name I wouldn't try to mention, but he was a Turkish surgeon, and he wrote a very famous book called Imperial Surgery. And some of the things that he described in that, maxillofacial surgery, surgeries involving the maxilla, the upper jaw, and then the face, and then the eyelids. And then also, we talked about gynecomastia, male breast development. He talked about techniques in 1465 about how to resolve all of these things in a very, very famous, well-illustrated surgical text called Imperial Surgery, which you can still get access to today.
Oh, wow.
So, you can imagine 1465 and clearly documented, techniques. Then there was an Italian. You can never talk about sculpture, you can never talk about painting and art without having an Italian in there. Gasparo Tagliacozzi. So he is considered as the father of modern day plastic surgery. He died in 1599. So, this is 16th century, issue. he perfected the nose surgery, the rhinoplasty.
Okay.
All right. And unfortunately, he was also condemned by the church at that time just for this work that he would do, that they are trying to sort of like remodel humans.
Something God has already done.
Exactly. And then you want
science
to use science to, do it. That was the understanding then. And then fast forward, there was another guy, German, called Carl Ferdinand von Grief. And he was a professor of surgery with extensive experience as a war surgeon. So a lot of these things started developing when we started having wars with cannons, big guns, fire, and all of that. Then people started suffering very horrific injuries, gross body or tissue defects that needed to be repaired. So this is the ancient history of plastic surgery. Kwame, now let's look at the modern era. All right? This is from maybe the 1900, coming. Can you believe there's a guy called Alexis Carrel? He's a French surgeon. In 1902, he actually won the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine.
Oh, my cousin. What's his name again? What's his name?
Alexis.
When I say something.
Okay, I apologize. I see that Danny K has affected you.
Yeah, the metono.
Alexis Carrel. So, what did he do? He taught us how to suture blood vessels. Yes. So, if a blood vessel is cut and you're bleeding, you know how to get it back. But we took that knowledge as well and learned how to take things from one part of the body with the blood supply called a flap and then send it to another part. Because of his work, he made organ transplant also possible. Then we could remove a whole organ and then, attach it somewhere else. For this work, he got the Nobel Prize in 1912. He got a Nobel Prize for that. World War I and World War II, as bad as they were, killing so many people, also actually accelerated the development of plastic surgery because big bombs, dynamite, and big guns were all in place. Landmines and all of that, so people suffered horrific injuries. So doctors were emboldened and they decided to do very heroic stuff, trying to, again, correct these defects, improve appearance, and restore lost function. It was very, very, very important they did this. And there were a lot of surgeons who, became world famous because of that. But I want to talk about one guy, Stromberg. Stromberg in 1960, he introduced a new method of breast reduction. And that we started our plastic surgery unit at Medicas last year.
Yeah, I remember you did a breast reduction procedure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've got this man to thank for. What he described back in 1960 is still, being used. I cannot finish this presentation without mentioning the fact that the first female plastic surgeon was actually or started working in 1911. All right. And she was called Suzanne Noel. And she died in 1954. And she did a lot of work with facial rejuvenation. Yeah, no surprises there. She would look at the face. Women love their face. So way back, she was born in 1878, and she was the first female plastic surgeon. So Kwame, this is from 800 BC. The Indian surgeon Sushrata, all the way to Suzanne Noel and Stromberg in 1960. In Ghana, we've got some greats, ourselves, and we've got younger ones also in the system, at the moment. The likes of Dr. Ankra, Dr. Akuboham. These are contemporary, plastic surgeons currently working. I think Dr. Ankra has been in this studio before,
yes.
To have a chat with you about burns.
And, I remember
as well.
Yeah.
So we go back to the question: real medicine or vanity?
Well, I think one of our friends sent a message earlier and says it is real medicine. So, and that's some Nubian biz in New York, USA. So, yeah, it is real medicine. And I think
Right.
there's a lot more that we can explore about this particular topic. And I'm quite intrigued to know that plastic surgery has been with us since the 800 BC.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when we actually documented it.
Yeah.
But even as far back as before then, we believe it was being done, but because writing and publishing
Yeah.
was not, commonplace, probably we've even lost, some of these historical
So is it
accounts.
safe to say that it started off with, real medicine and real solution to certain problems that are that were rife at the time,
Right.
But maybe because of evolution and because of the technological advancement and the ease of performing these now,
Yeah.
because I'm sure back then it was quite complex to do
Very complex.
with a limited.
Infection control,
yeah.
sutures, availability of sutures,
Yeah.
and
all those things.
nutritional status of individuals and all of that. So yes, we were constrained by that, but now life is far better
Yeah.
and easier, and now people have desires.
Yeah.
So we talk about that ear extensions. It started off because people's ears were cut off as punishment and wanted to restore it. But now somebody wants to, MMA or was it not that UFC,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever it is.
Yeah,
And then they
MMA.
want to do that. But I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that serious reconstruction to improve appearance is being done. So, Kwame, I don't know whether you know about these cleft palates.
Yes, cleft
Children
palates,
who are
yeah.
born without, part of the palate forming.
Yeah.
There's this. They smile for the first time after guys like Dr. Akuboham have worked on them, and I know he belongs to an NGO also called Operation Smile.
Operation Smile,
and,
yeah.
And yeah, they make them smile for the first time.
Yeah.
So, my opinion, not all vanity. A lot of work is done with reconstruction because of, again, cancers. All right. So, for example, when we talk about breast augmentation and all of that, people forget that some women develop breast cancer and have mastectomies done, breast removed, and sometimes the plastic surgeons would then have to reconstruct the breast,
Right.
for them. So it's not just, I have small breasts, I want them bigger, and therefore I'm coming to do it. So today, and for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to try and show the different things that the plastic surgeons do,
Yeah.
so that we have a very balanced view of their work.
And at Medicas Hospital, you have a plastic surgery department and you perform these procedures as well.
Yes, we do. Our most recent one was just about 3 weeks ago. We're getting very, very good results, from it. So our team.
What procedure was that?
So again, it was a breast reduction. We took about 4 kilos of breast tissue off.
Okay.
And then reconstructed the breast again. But we have abdominoplasty also coming up next week.
Okay.
As well. So
How do we reach out to you for those who want to talk to you?
Right. So the number is 0501 477 340. The WhatsApp number is 0501 477 340.
Dr. Yaw Osafo is the CEO of Medicas Hospital in East Legon Hills and Mampong.